This is my confession. It all started with the local jocks. Those pompous asses with their fucking football jackets and their cars paid with daddy's money. I hated them. So much. I wasn't even one of their targets. I wasn't one of the nerds. I didn't have any disability and never belonged to any specific clique. I was normal. Or, at least I tried really hard to appear that way. You can get away with anything when you're a regular kid. At school, the air was still tense. It had been 6 months since Megan disappeared, and there were posters around plastered on every hallway. I did feel guilty about what happened to her, but business is business. The money was just too good. And if I ever woke up thinking of her, I'd just tell myself, you're just a middleman. That's what you are. Just a middleman. And right now, you're not even that. Right now, you're just Pete. Everyone called me Pete, and everyone called me a friend. What they didn't know about me is that it's all a farce. Pete's my name, sure, but over the last few years, it's become more of a character. Pete is my shield. It's the thing that keeps me safe. During the day, I wear Pete's outfit and his winning smile to school. I volunteer to help out in the afternoons. I even go to church with my grandma every Sunday. But when I come home, I remove the Pete outfit, and I can truly be myself once I open up my laptop. It takes a lot of know-how to do what I do, so I'll spare you the details. But I'm sure that at some point you've heard of this dark web, this whole section of the internet that you can't access without regular means. Since people can't access it normally, it's become a hub of illegal activity. While some users get in there only because they value their privacy, many others do it for far more nefarious purposes. And this is how the world works. There's a need, so the market finds a way to fulfill that need. I began that night pretty late. I was invited to a party, so I had to go. I kept to myself, speaking to a group of people, when one of the jocks, Mike, took me to the side with a beer in his hand. "Hey, Pete, my man!" He wasn't slurring his words just yet, but he had been drinking. I could feel it in his breath. He had his arm around my shoulders as if we were lifelong friends. I awkwardly got myself freed from him. "Hey, Mike, how are you?" I tried in a calm tone of voice. Had he been sober, he would have caught the annoyance in my voice. "Hey, I'm cool. So, listen, I hear you're like good with computers and shit." I was. It was one of Pete's hobbies. He had to be known for something, so that's what I was. A computer guy, who dressed well enough not to be called a nerd. "So, there's this party I'm throwing at my house next week. You're invited, by the way." "Great, another one of these. And we're looking to score something really special, you know what I'm saying?" Of course, everyone knew that Mike and all the players in the football team were massive junkies. How they were never caught with one of those surprise urine tests is beyond me. I nodded and he continued. "Thing is, my dealer's out of town and I need to get something ASAP. And I heard you may know a guy who's into some shit." The way he said that gave me pause. What does he know? If there were any insecurities, I managed to keep them from showing on my face. I tried to deflect. "Hey man, I have no idea what you mean. I'm the guy you call if your printer's broken. What does this have to do with getting, stuff for the party?" He looked at me and said, "I heard you know about the dark web. You can access it. I know there's all sorts of stuff there and I was hoping you could help a friend out." "Since when are we friends?" I nearly asked. At that moment, I was going to make an excuse and leave. But then, I thought, Mike is rich, his family's loaded, and I did hear those rumors. I think he's into some shit too. Plus, he's an ass. It'd be fun to take him down a peg. "Okay, so here's the thing. I don't know anything about that really, but I may know a guy who knows a guy. I'll ask around and if they're up for it, they'll reach out to you," I said. Mike's eyes lit up and he smiled. His cheeks were redder now. "That's my man!" He patted me on the back and went back with his people. Later that night, I returned home and fired up my system. Have you heard of those dark web mystery boxes? Those are fake. The real dark web is a lot worse than something you'll see on some YouTube channel. Far, far worse. And I should know, because that's how I earn my living. I can put you in contact with dealers of any substance. Illegal weapons, contract killing, you name it. You pay me, and I keep the money safe until you get the service. Then I send the payment to your seller, and everyone's happy. All I ask is 10% of the transaction. It may not sound like a lot, but earning the web's trust is difficult, and I'm a man of my word. I made hundreds of thousands of dollars in all sorts of digital currency. If all goes well, by the time I'm 18, I'll be a millionaire. I reached out to Mike via email. He answered asking me how I got his info, and I said he shouldn't worry about that. I asked what he was trying to score, and he said he was looking for psychedelic mushrooms, a particular kind that you can't get in the US that would be expensive. But, as always, I know a guy. I reached out to the seller. They gave me the price, and I got back to Mike, explaining everything. He sent the money, even though the price was very steep. The seller got to work. Mike sent one last email, asking me to let Pete know he should deliver the goods himself to the party on Friday. I was sure to let him know that this would not happen. He seemed upset by it, but the transaction still went through. Mike had been stupid enough to use his school email for this. Jocks are not very smart, I suspect, and having his email address allowed me to mine for some of his personal information. Now, he had a purchase of an illegal substance tied to his school ID. I had broken into the school database a million times, so collecting all his info and tying him to the purchase was easy. Not even all of Daddy's lawyers could help him. I spent the rest of the week putting everything together in a single encrypted file, which I'd send to the FBI anonymously, along with the key to decrypt it. But I noticed strange behavior on my computer. Files were in places where I never put them. My system would randomly freeze, and several times it crashed for no reason, forcing a reboot. That Friday, I woke up to a message in my inbox. "We know," it said. A chill ran down my spine. The only thing I could think to do was to move all my crypto to an external drive and take that with me somewhere safe. I disconnected the whole system and took it to my car. I drove around the inner city until dark, when I found a homeless encampment. Some of the homeless were warming their hands to a fire that raged inside a can. I went in and dropped my laptop and the rest of my equipment into the pyre. When I drove home, I saw them from a distance. Several black vans, red and blue lights, and men with FBI coats coming in and out of my house. I was too late. I drove away as fast as I could, my mind racing, asking myself how the fuck they were able to catch me. I'd been so careful. My phone rang. Unknown number. As a rule, I never answered my phone, but curiosity got the better of me. I needed to know. "Hey, Pete." It was Mike. His voice was different now. Cold, calculating. But he also seemed to be enjoying himself. "What the fuck?" He interrupted me. "She was my girl, Pete, and you fucking sold her out to some asshole half a world away. Like she was a product on a shelf. How does he know?" No, I didn't. What the fuck is happening, Mike?" I asked. He just laughed. "You're getting what's coming to you, you sick fuck," he said. "I've been working with the cops for months. When Megan went missing, the feds began investigating everyone at the school, and apparently they found some odd traffic in your house. All they needed was a way in, and that's when they approached me. I begged them to let me help, actually. My heart was about to explode in my chest. I was gasping for breath as I stepped on the gas and began to drive faster and faster. "I have no idea what's happening," I shouted, but Mike just laughed. "They've got it all, Pete. When you wrote to me to make the sale, you were actually talking to an agent. I have no idea how they did it. They got into your system. They got it all. I'm not buying your act anymore, Pete. By tomorrow morning, everyone at school will know the kind of monster you are," he said bitterly and hung up. The truth is, I did know what had happened to Megan. There was an interested party overseas, trying to get their hands on a young white girl. I never asked what for, but I imagine it wasn't pleasant, and I really hated Megan and her friends. She was very pretty, so when I showed pictures to the buyer, he immediately sent the payment. I got a local crew to do the job, and I scored a nice payday. I kept driving, until a patrol saw me and began chasing me. I managed to keep some distance between us, but soon I heard the helicopter above, and before I knew it, I was headed straight for a police barricade. I crashed into it and immediately lost consciousness. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed, completely restrained, and there were cops in the room. They interrogated me, and I asked for a lawyer. I was told my family wouldn't pay for one. My mother was in shock, and my father was furious. They hadn't told my grandma about it, afraid that she would take the news badly, and that her heart wouldn't be able to take it. So, this is why I've written this small account of the facts. I'll accept whatever fate awaits me at the trial. Probably life, but we'll see. If it means anything, I do regret what happened with Megan. Maybe she didn't deserve it. Maybe she did. But I guess what hurts most is knowing that now, everyone sees Pete for the sham that he was. The charming kid persona hiding something darker beneath. I'll miss Pete. He was a good kid.
Hello, my name is Dan, but that's not my real name. I can't tell you my real name in case they find this. Weird stuff has been happening to me, and I haven't really had the time to sit down and tell someone. So here I am, telling you what happened to me last week. Last week was like any other ordinary week. I'm a computer science major, and I study in InfoSec. A lot of people just call that hacking, but it's not really what it is. You see, most people assume us hackers are all evil. We are all the same, but that just isn't that case. Anyways, last week, my friend, who I will call Evan, sent me a link to a dark website, an onion link. Just for some clarification, the dark web, as you might recall, is an off-the-grid version of the internet where all traffic and data are anonymized. This allows people to post and do anything without the possibility of it being traced back to them. This gives a lot of disgusting people a place to post and talk about all of their deepest fantasies: child pornography, live streams, torture, human trafficking, you name it. This place sounds horrible, you're probably thinking. Why would anyone want to see or experience this bullshit? That is the question a lot of us hackers ask ourselves every day, but this is not the only thing you can do on the deep web. But I will leave the exploring up to you, if you even choose to. The website my friend sent me was just a blank black screen. I thought to myself, why is there just a black screen? If this website domain exists, it would be stupid to just host a blank screen. I decided to explore deeper into the website's traffic. This is where I made a shocking discovery. The website was choosing random hosts that connect to it and sending them somewhere else. I didn't know where, but I wanted to find out. That was my biggest mistake. I dove deeper into the website's traffic, and I managed to find where the users were being redirected to. It was a very weird website URL. The URL stated, it basically just says, "Death is among us." That sent shivers down my spine, but I decided to proceed. I clicked on the link and it took forever to load, possibly due to the amount of people connecting to the website at once. After 37 minutes of anxiously waiting, the page loaded. There was a chat box in the bottom left of the screen. I clicked on it, and there were a bunch of people conversing and chatting about how they're super excited about tonight's event. Tonight's event? What's going on here? I thought. Before I could get my thoughts straight, a voice started talking. Welcome to tonight's annual event. For all the VIP members, you all may send in your tokens. And for the rest of you, we will begin shortly. Enjoy your stay. The voice abruptly stopped. Huh? Tokens? VIP members? What's going on here? After this, I got very freaked out and tried to close the tab, but for some reason, I couldn't. My mouse cursor wouldn't move. I tried using keyboard shortcuts, Ctrl W, Ctrl Shift Escape, not of it worked. Then a second later, I received a text on my phone, an unknown number I didn't recognize. If you did not want to watch, then you should not have bypassed our security wall. Security wall? But there wasn't. I was cut off short by a woman screaming coming from my headset. I looked up and I almost shat myself. What I will horrified me, and I probably will never forget it. That is until I'm gone. There, on my computer, showed a young woman, maybe about 16 or 17, strapped down onto a table with cuts and lacerations on her wrist. Before I could process what I was seeing, I decided to call 911. What was I supposed to tell them? Oh, there was this video of a girl tied up with cuts on my screen, but I didn't even have the chance to say that because my phone went to voicemail. Voicemail? For 911? Then appeared a man knocking on my window. I ran into the other room and locked and sealed the doors and windows. Pulling a handgun I had stored underneath a bed, I cocked it. It was loaded all right. Why was this man here? Does it have something to do with the video of the girl? Am I going crazy? I can't be crazy. I can't die like this. Not here. Not now. I was super worked up. so I decided to take a few pills of whatever the fuck was on the dresser, just some sedatives I thought. Then I realised, wait, I don't take any medication and I don't do drugs, what? I blacked out. For what I could assume was a few hours later, I found myself strapped onto a table, just like the one the girl was strapped to, bounded by zip ties and multiple layers of tape. No, this is not happening. I struggled and tried to free myself, but I couldn't. I calmed myself down and started thinking, looking around for anything I could use to escape and protect myself. I remember a video I saw while I was in my lecture class. When you find a good move, find a better one. An idea popped on my head. Make him screw up. He came into the room but didn't talk. I asked him a bunch of questions like, where am I? What is this? What are you going to do to me? I pretended to be panicky. He drew in closer with a knife in his hand, and that's when I made the attempt. I grabbed him with my legs and pulled him down, stabbing himself with the knife into his neck. I pulled out the knife with my foot, partially cutting myself. Then I tossed the knife up, and it landed beside my hands. Perfect. I cut myself loose and barged for the door. I saw the pistol I had in the corner and went to retrieve it, but I heard a sound coming from the corner. The guy was still alive. I took the pistol and shot him twice, one in the chest and another in his neck. I bolted for the door and got out. I'm safe now. That was a week ago, but something happened yesterday. I keep hearing knocks on the windows and doors of my house. This is why I'm writing this. I hope people will find this and help me, because soon I will probably die. I've been running for a while, but I feel like they will find me. Pray for me. Pray that this evil doesn't find me. Pray that we will all be okay. Good luck to you.